In the quiet corners of the entertainment world, where lights are brightest and smiles are most polished, a story has emerged that challenges everything we thought we knew about loyalty and the safety of those we admire. Welcome to Update 424H, where today we delve into a narrative that has moved from a moment of profound silence to a global call for clarity and truth. Imagine a talent celebrated for his gentle spirit and undeniable grace, a figure who felt more like a friend to his supporters than a distant star. When the news first broke regarding the departure of this beloved individual, under circumstances that seemed impossible to grasp, the world stood still. For a long time, the narrative was framed as a tragic, unforeseen event, a moment of misfortune that took place in the early hours of a quiet morning. But as the sun began to rise on new information, the shadows surrounding that fateful fifth-floor balcony started to recede, revealing a story not of a random occurrence, but of a deeply orchestrated series of choices that have left an entire community in search of peace. The heart of this story lies in the profound contrast between the warmth of a shared evening and the chilling reality that followed. Picture a gathering of close companions, a dinner filled with the kind of laughter and conversation that usually defines a lifetime of trust. 5 or 6 individuals, people who were considered part of an inner circle, shared bread and stories until the late hours. It was a scene of apparent safety. Yet as the clock struck 2 in the morning and our protagonist retired to a private room, and the atmosphere shifted in ways no one could have predicted. The silence of that locked room was not a sanctuary, but rather the beginning of a sequence of events that has now been described by those involved as a deliberate attempt to alter the course of a life. The recent revelations suggesting that his physical state was compromised by external factors before the incident have sent a wave of disbelief through the hearts of those who held him dear. It suggests a level of calculation that is difficult to process, turning a night of friendship into a tragedy of immense proportions. What makes this account so deeply affecting is the meticulous nature of the evidence that has recently come to light. Authorities and specialists have spent countless hours revisiting the scene, looking past the initial explanations to find the hidden truths. They found inconsistencies that could no longer be ignored, a window mesh that appeared moved by design rather than force, and the inexplicable presence of luxury timepieces that seemed placed with the intention to mislead. These details act as silent witnesses to a narrative that someone worked very hard to construct. Experts in the field now suggest that the environment was curated to tell a story that wasn't true, a staged scene meant to guide investigators away from the darker reality of a conflict that had reached its breaking point. This wasn't just a loss, it was a carefully veiled departure, masked by the very people who were supposed to offer protection. Beyond the physical evidence, we find the most human element of all, the motive. It is a stark reminder that even in the most glittering circles, disputes over shared ventures and personal misunderstandings can escalate when transparency is lost. It is reported that our protagonist had inadvertently become aware of certain dealings that were never meant to see the light of day. This knowledge, born of his integrity, made him a figure of concern for those who preferred to operate in the shadows. The fear of exposure drove a group of individuals to choose a path of no return, opting to silence a voice that stood for honesty. This revelation has transformed the public's grief into a powerful demand for accountability. It is no longer just about mourning a loss. It is about protecting the legacy of a man who, even in his final moments, was surrounded by a complexity he never deserved. In the face of such overwhelming darkness, the resilience of his family has become a beacon of hope. His father's voice, though heavy with the weight of an unimaginable burden, remains a symbol of unyielding strength. His mother, holding on to the memories of a son whose kindness touched millions, reminds us that the truth is a debt we owe to the departed. Their journey is not one of vengeance, but of a sincere pursuit of justice that ensures no other family has to endure a silence filled with unanswered questions. This collective effort has inspired a global movement where supporters are not just spectators, but active participants in keeping the flame of his memory alive through vigils and calls for legal integrity. It is a testament to the power of a life well lived that even in death, he continues to unite people in a common cause of goodness and truth. As the investigation enters a new, more rigorous phase, the use of advanced forensic insights is bringing a fresh perspective to the table. Every fiber found on a railing and every inconsistent footprint tells a story that contradicts the hurried accounts given on that first morning. The authorities are now looking closer at the sudden departures of guests and the contradictions in the testimonies that were once taken at face value. This renewed focus serves as a reminder that the truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how deep it is buried or how carefully it is disguised. We are witnessing a moment where the system is challenged to rise above influence and deliver a verdict that honors the sanctity of life. It is a journey toward healing, paved with the difficult but necessary task of confronting the uncomfortable realities of human nature. This narrative is a powerful reflection on the fragility of trust and the enduring strength of the human spirit. It teaches us to cherish the light while being vigilant of the shadows, and to always stand for those who can no longer speak for themselves. The story of this star is not defined by his fall, but by the overwhelming love that continues to rise in his wake. It is a story that reminds us of the importance of community, the necessity of truth, and the unwavering belief that justice, though sometimes delayed, is an inevitable force. As we continue to follow every development, we do so with a commitment to empathy and a hope that clarity will finally bring the peace that his soul and his loved ones so deeply deserve. Thank you for joining me on Update X24H as we navigate these complex stories with the respect and depth they require. If you believe in the pursuit of truth and wish to stay informed on the most significant updates from the world of entertainment and beyond, please consider subscribing to our channel and turning on notifications. Your support allows us to continue bringing these important narratives to light. Thank you for your time, your empathy, and for being a vital part of our community. Stay tuned for our next update and remember to look after one another.